The Detroit Lions are heading into one of the most fascinating off-seasons in franchise history, and everything begins in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine, where front offices quietly shape the future while fans only see the 40-yard dash. For Detroit, this isn't just another scouting trip. This is a measuring stick for a contender trying to stay on top of the NFC while navigating roster uncertainty, contract dilemmas, and global expansion. When General Manager Brad Holmes and head coach Dan Campbell step to the podium, every word matters because it signals how aggressively this team plans to attack the offseason. The Combine has always been as much about information gathering as it is about player evaluation, and for a Lions team with multiple key decisions looming, the stakes feel unusually high. Holmes speaking first, followed by Campbell, sets the tone for the franchise's priorities. Their messaging will reveal whether Detroit sees itself as a team that needs tweaks or one that must reload to keep pace with the league's elite. The presence of coordinators Drew Petzing and Kelvin Shepard behind the scenes underscores how detailed this process is. Coaches aren't just evaluating talent. They're assessing how prospects fit into a very specific culture that has defined the Lions' rise. Detroit's identity under Campbell has been built on toughness, versatility, and relentless effort, and the Combine offers the first glimpse of which prospects can sustain that identity moving forward. On the field, the schedule itself tells a story about Detroit's needs. Defensive linemen and linebackers opening the workouts places immediate focus on positions that could define the Lions' defensive future. Later sessions featuring quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs may draw headlines, but Detroit's front office will be watching trench players with laser focus. The team's success has come from dominating physically, and maintaining that advantage requires constant reinforcements. Offensive line workouts closing the Combine are particularly significant given the uncertainty surrounding longtime left tackle Taylor Decker. If there is even a possibility of retirement, Detroit must be prepared with contingency plans, and those plans begin with identifying prospects who can protect the blind side in a championship window. Decker's situation looms over everything like a ticking clock. Brad Holmes has made it clear the organization wants clarity soon, because roster construction depends on it. A retirement would free cap space but create a massive hole at one of football's most critical positions. Even if Decker returns, the Lions know they need insurance, depth, and a long-term successor. Campbell's comments suggest the team is preparing for both scenarios simultaneously, a sign of a disciplined front office that refuses to be caught off guard. This is the kind of proactive planning that separates contenders from teams that fall apart when adversity hits. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Detroit's offseason strategy, now is the time to subscribe and stay locked in, because the moves made over the next few months will shape the next era of Lions football, and you won't want to miss a single development. Another storyline adding intrigue is Detroit's expanding global footprint. The announcement that the Lions will play an international game in Munich during the 2026 season is more than a scheduling note. It's a statement about the franchise's growing brand. Playing at Allianz Arena connects the team to one of Europe's most passionate sports markets and reflects the NFL's broader push into Germany. For players like Amon-Ra St. Brown, the game carries personal significance, offering a chance to perform in his mother's home country. International exposure elevates the franchise's profile, attracts new fans, and reinforces the idea that Detroit is no longer a small market afterthought, but a team with global appeal. While the international spotlight grows, roster decisions at home remain brutally complex. Few choices illustrate this better than the dilemma surrounding edge rusher Al-Quadin Muhammad. His breakout season as a situational pass rusher created value the Lions can't ignore, yet his limitations as an every-down defender complicate negotiations. Detroit desperately needs pressure opposite Aiden Hutchinson, but investing heavily in a rotational player could prevent the team from acquiring a true starter. The front office must determine whether Muhammad's production is sustainable and whether his role can expand, or if his peak value has already been reached. These are the types of decisions that quietly determine whether a roster improves or stagnates. The pass rush conversation becomes even more fascinating when considering outside targets. Rumors about pursuing stars like Max Crosby ignited fan excitement, but reality appears far more complicated. The Raiders' reluctance to move Crosby suggests Detroit may need to explore alternative solutions. Similarly, The potential availability of elite center Tyler Linderbaum could dramatically reshape the offensive line, yet Baltimore's efforts to retain him may close that door before negotiations even begin. These developments highlight the unpredictable nature of the offseason, where fan dreams collide with contractual realities. Linebacker also emerges as a critical focus area, especially given how heavily Detroit relied on three linebacker sets under defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard. With only a couple of starters under contract, the scheme itself may hinge on acquiring the right talent. Prospects like Sonny Styles and others offer the athleticism and versatility Detroit covets, but drafting linebackers early carries risk in a league that often devalues the position. The Lions must decide whether to maintain their unique defensive structure or adapt to a more common nickel approach, a strategic choice that will ripple across the entire roster. All of these threads converge at the Combine, where interviews, medical evaluations, and informal conversations shape decisions long before draft night. Fans see the spectacle, but teams see a chessboard. Every handshake, every meeting room discussion, and every whispered rumor can influence trades, signings, and draft strategy. For a team on the cusp of sustained contention, the margin for error is razor thin. As the offseason accelerates toward free agency and the draft, the Lions face a defining test of leadership and vision. Can they balance loyalty to proven veterans with the urgency of upgrading key positions? Can they manage the salary cap while remaining aggressive? And can they maintain the culture that transformed them from underdogs into contenders? The answers will determine whether Detroit's recent success becomes a dynasty or a fleeting moment. If you want more in-depth analysis like this throughout the offseason, make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications, because the next few months will decide whether the Lions take the final step toward a championship or face a tougher road back to the top.